Chapter 46. Critique. Spiritual and physical talking. After a while, nevertheless, one of the critics got up and directed the following words to the speaker and said, "Listen, my dear friend and brother, that you're obviously wiser than all of us at this table. I, and certainly we all, now have learned from your words. And I therefore, in advance, be convinced already that you are going to solve for all of us my following main question. And thus I ask you to listen to me." But the main speaker said to him who wanted to ask him, "Listen, the true wisdom from the Lord God Sabaoth should neither ask nor be asked. For the truly wise, his inner living word tells him the reason of all truth. And the truly wise, being asked, does also not need to be asked, because the Spirit tells him the need of his brother. But if you want to ask me, how is it then with your famous wisdom about which you yourself, as a sharp critic, boasted to me? Behold, if you had been a true wise man, you should, in the light of your wisdom, soon see that I, as a wise man, without your natural human question, must know what is bothering you. But you are questioning me. Are you therefore a wise man, and regards me a wise man indeed, and in the very ground of your life? Do you think the high guests do not know about it? Oh, just go to them, and they will tell you what I now have told you." Here the critic was very embarrassed and did not know what to do, because he quite well discerned from the words of the main speaker that he must have noticed that he meant to set him a small trap with his intended question. But when he discovered that it was not that easy to trump this main speaker, he gradually started to play a completely different tune in his heart. And when the main speaker noticed this, he immediately directed the following words to the critic and said, "Listen, I want to give you a good answer to your intended question with which you meant to catch me, because you now allowed a different spirit to rise in your heart. But this is my answer. You thought that man could not comprehensively express himself in front of his fellow human beings without a word, and that the oral word was the completion of the mute thoughts in the heart, because man thereby distinguishes himself as a human being from all other creatures of earth. And as such, one would have to worship the Lord only with consummate words, but not worshipping and thanking and glorifying and praising Him with the inner spirit saturating thoughts or feelings. See, this is precisely the very wrong way. Exactly because man has become a sense and world server and has turned himself to the outside, he also came to use the external mouth language, and now cannot understand his brother other than through the word of the mouth, which in itself is nothing more than merely the most outer bark of a tree. However, he thereby lost incalculably much by this apparent advantage, because if man had stayed with his inner spirit language, the whole of creation would present itself as speech enabled for him. and he could understand things in its very essence. But now he's become a silent observer and has in himself tainted all his senses through his turning to the outside, so that he became deaf, blind, and insensitive, like the bark of the tree, and understands nothing in its essence. Yes, he does not even know himself anymore, and he does not know the wailing heart of his brother. Do you also want now to turn the recognition and worshipping of God, who himself is the most inner life in man, to the outside, so that you thereby also could lose even God and become a heathen or even a complete atheist? Here, all at the table of the speaker were overcome by a very strange feeling. Except for Enoch, the upper Lamech, and Horrid, also those sitting at the main table. And the lower Lamech began to mightily scratch himself behind the ears, and would have liked to again make a remark. But the speaker was not finished yet. Therefore he waited patiently for the outcome of the matter.